there should be an anchor member. That means where you are starting your query. Then you need to have a recursive member, basically which references itself. And then they obviously, since you are repeating the same thing again and again, you need to have a termination condition. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. This channel, Avid Science, is all about trying to learn various concepts of science by practicing a lot of questions. In this video, we are going to solve this question on Leetcode regarding Friday purchases part 2. The difficulty level of this question is hard, and I'm going to share the SQL schema as well as the Panda schema in the description box below. Okay, the question reads, we are given a table called purchases with 3 different columns: user ID, purchase date, and amount spent. The combined columns user ID, purchase date, and amount spent is the primary key, that is combination of columns with unique values for this table. Purchase date will range from November 1, 2023 to November 30, 2023, inclusive of both dates. Each row contains user ID, purchase date, and amount spent. We are asked to write a solution to calculate the total spending by users on each Friday of every week in November 2023. If there are no purchases on a particular Friday of a week, it will be considered as 0. Okay. Return the result table ordered by week of the month in ascending order. Okay. Let's go to this example. Here we have different user IDs, different purchase dates, and amount spent on every Friday of November of 2023. So let's say there are 4 or 5 different Fridays. We need to basically say that, okay, on that particular date, what was the total amount? And that is what you get in the output. So basically, to solve this question, the first thing that we need to do is we need to find a way to find all the Fridays in November of 2023. Now, there is two ways you can go about it. You can either try to say that, okay, let me go back or use Google, etc. to get, okay, what was the first Friday of November 2023, and then you keep on adding 7 days to that until you reach the end of month of November of 2023. But we should always try to write our code such that it is generalized in nature. So even though the question says November 2023, if they want it to change later to, let's say, a range, maybe May of 2023 to January of 2024 or something like that, every single Friday we want this purchases, etc. So our solution should always focus on generalized output. Now, to solve this question, as we discussed, we need all the Fridays of November 2023. What we can do is we can use a recursive common table expression. Now we have discussed about recursive common table expressions a lot in the past, but let me give you a quick rundown again. Let me switch to Excel, and that would make this explanation way easier. So, for example, for a recursive common table expression, we need 3 different things. There should be an anchor member. That means where you are starting your query. Then you need to have a recursive member, basically which references itself. And then they obviously, since you are repeating the same thing again and again, you need to have a termination condition where the recursion stops. Okay. Now what we need to do is we need to find out when is the first Friday of November 2023. So we know the first day of November 2023 would be 1st of November 2023. Now, what we can do is we can find out when is the first Friday. So, what we need to do is we can use a function called day of the week, and which basically says that if you use this function on a particular date, it will return you 2, 3, 4. So, like values from 1 to 7, and they basically mean that, okay, if it returns, let's say 2, it is Monday, 3, it's Tuesday, and so on. So, how can we get this is we can say that, hey, return me the first Friday date. And how we are going to calculate this, let me explain this here. So what we are saying is, let's say 1st of November 2023, let's say this was a Monday, right? Now if 1st of November 2023 was a Monday, when will be the first Friday? It would be basically 4 days later, that is 5th of November 2023, right? Just an example. Now to get from 1st of November 2023 to 5th of November 2023, you need to add 4 days. So since 1st of November 2023 we are assuming to be a Monday, so that means you need to have 2 plus 4, that is 6, right? So that is what this mathematics is here. What we are saying is day of the week 1st of November 2023, let's assume for our example it was a Monday. So this will return you 2. Then you do 6 minus 2 is 4 plus 7 is 11, and then this is a modular. So basically what's the remainder? So 11 divided by 7 is, remainder is going to be 4. So if you add in 1st of November 2023 4 different days, that is going to give you the first Friday. So and you can do that same thing, right? So let's say if, let's say 1st of November 2023 itself was a Friday, that means this entire thing will be what? 6. 6 minus 6 is 0 plus 7 modular 7. So there is no remainder. 7 divided by 7, there is no remainder. So you add 0 days. So you see how this is a generic solution to find the first Friday of any given month. So let's start building this query. Let me go back to Leetcode. So we need to write with recursive, right? With recursive common table expression as, and then what you need to do is you need to firstly have an anchor member, and where what we are doing is return me date add, you have 23/11/01, or that means 1st of November 2023, and in this you need to add certain days. How are we going to calculate those certain days? You need to write interval, and then let me just bring this down here. So 6 minus day of week, that means what is the day of the week? November 1st 2023. You get that, you add 7 to that, and then you basically do a modular division. That means get me the remainder modular 7, and this entire thing basically you add these many number of days as Friday date. Okay, what will this give you? This will give you the first Friday of November 2023. So, for example, let's say 3rd of November 2023. This is now your common table expression. Then you need to keep on adding this. So, what we do is, this is the anchor member. Then you need to add a recursive member. So, union, let's write the recursive member of the recursive common table expression. So, what we are going to do is return me date add Friday date, right? So whatever your Friday date is, and then interval 7 day. So this will start adding 7 days. So for example, right now your Friday date is 3rd of November 2023, and then you write this. So that means it will keep on adding the 7 days from it, right? So 7 days, then 7 days, and so on, right? And we need to do this from the common table expression, right? So from common table expression, you keep on adding 7 days to the Friday date. So this will give you all the thing, but it needs to stop at a certain place. So we need to also write termination condition, that hey, where your this entire date add thing is less than, right? So where this entire thing is less than equal to last day of November 2023. So 2023 11/30, right? Why do we do this one? Is because, for example, let's say you keep on adding to this, and then you have 17 plus 7 is 24. So 24th of November 2023. Now 24th plus 7 is 1st of December, right? We are only considering month of November. So that means you need to stop adding that, right? So that is what this termination condition helps us achieve. Once we have this, what we can do is we can, so basically this part is what? Termination condition, right? So let me just write it, termination condition. And then what we are going to do is, let us see if we have all the Fridays of November 2023. So select star from CTE. Let me go ahead and run this. Okay. So if we look at this output, what we have is we have all the Fridays of November 2023. Now this is a simpler thing to do. What we can do is, from all the Fridays, we can simply join on the purchases on this particular date and see what's the total amount of spend. So what we are going to do is, from this common table expression, let's alias this as C. let us perform the left join of the purchases table aliased as P on C dot Friday date is equal to P dot purchase date. And then what we are going to do is we can group by the Friday dates. So C dot Friday date, return me C dot Friday date, and also do the sum of entire amount spent. So P dot amount spent, and if we look at our output, that is going to be total amount, right? However, if there is nothing, so for example days like 10th of November, you see there is no purchases, so for them you need to have a total amount of 0. So what we do is, if this comes out to be null, you replace this with 0, and let's alias this as total amount. Okay, and we see that all these Friday dates are basically going to be aliased as purchase date as well. So we can just simply do that here so that it's easier for us. We don't need to change it later on. And let me just bring this down so that it's easier for us to view. Okay, let me go ahead and run this. Let's see what do we get in our output. Okay, now what we have is, for every purchase date or every Friday of November 2023, what's the total amount? So if you see, second column and third column are now in our output. What we want is, we want week of the month, right? So this date was first week, second week, and so on. What we can do is, then we can save this entire thing in another common table expression. So CTE2 as this entire thing goes into parentheses, and then what we are going to do is, from this common table expression 2, we need the first column as week, right? Now there is a function called week which basically returns you what? Week of the year, not month. So if I do something like this, so week of this date, right? So week of purchase date, and then you give me the purchase date as well as the total amount, right? If I go ahead and run this, right, it is going to give me, let me just run this, let's see what do we get. So you see here it says, let me just bring it to the left. So it says 44:45. This means this particular day is the 44th week of the year 2023. This is 45th week, and so on. So what we need is, we don't need week of the year, we need week of the month. So what we can simply do is, for this particular date you get the week, and then for 1st of November 2023, that will also be a certain week of year 2023. You subtract them, then let's see what do we get. So what we are going to basically do is, let me just bring this down and do minus week of 1st November 2023. So 2023 11:01. Let us alias this as week of month. It's not yet complete, but let me just go step by step so that it's easier. Now if you look your output, it says 0123. Why this is the case? Because 1st of November and 3rd of November both belong to the same week of year 2023. But we don't need that, right? We want that, okay, this Friday is basically the first week of November 2023. So then simply what we can do is, we can just add 1 to this. And let me run this now. Let's see what do we get. So even though this says accepted, this is still not complete, because in the output we need to return by week of the month in ascending order. So we can write order by week of the month. Let me go ahead and run this. Let's see what do we get in our output. Okay, so now this is accepted. Our output is same as expected output. Let me go ahead and submit to pass all the test cases or not. So yeah, this is accepted, and this is how we do it. So very tricky question, kind of hard as well. Why? Because we need to have knowledge of recursive common table expressions so that we can find out all the Fridays of November 2023. That is what we did. We used the anchor member to find the first Friday, and then kept on adding to it until we get, for all the dates in November 2023, what were the Fridays. Once we had the list of all Friday dates, We simply join those Fridays on the purchases so that we can get for every Friday date what was the total amount spent. And then once we had those, we also needed to get the week of the month. So since the week function gives you week of the year, we subtracted when will the 1st of November 2023, or that means which week it falls on. You subtracted and then you basically did an addition so that even if the first Friday and 1st of November 2023 falls on the same week of the year, we still get that as first week of the month of November 2023. So yeah, this is how we do it. Let me know if there's a better or easier way to do this solution. Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.